Hello, and you join us again for the second week of the brand new series of Doctor Who for Sean and I's thoughts and review on it. This week's episode was The Ghost Monument, and because for once this week we actually had a title sequence with a title card for it. And we're starting off with my thoughts this week because we did yours first last week, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes. I liked this episode. I enjoyed it. I found it an interesting storyline. It was an interesting way of getting around having actually a very small cast for it. I liked the ideas of being on it being a race, sort of like the Dakar Rally type thing. I like that reference to the Dakar Paris Rally. The characters were interesting. I didn't get to learn a great deal about them, but they're your standard worthy characters in one episode type thing, so you don't really get to learn much about them anyway. But you learn what their drives are, and they seem different enough for one another. Good acting from some of them, particularly good from Art Malik, I thought. Even though
he was wasted.
It seems to be the case a lot of the time. Some of the best actors they have, they don't tend to use them as well as they could. I hope we get to see Ilan later on somehow. Because I would hate for his episode to be such a waste otherwise. It also looks like we found our recurring threat type thing.
Yes, the
Stenser.
Yeah,
which is odd because usually the recurring thing tends to be sort of more subtle. It doesn't tend to be quite so on the nose. As in the second episode, welcome to the fact this is going to be our recurring problem for the entire series. Usually it's subtle stuff that's not really noticed initially. I'm thinking Bad Wolf, Torchwood. These are all things that are in the background and occasionally would pop up, but only if you notice them. And then only later in hindsight do you see the connections. This time it's kind of, we are blatantly showing you what these things are right from the start. Even the cracks in the walls with Matt Smith's first series took a while for that to kind of become... It was about, halfway through the series when they said this is a recurring thing. It took a while before we reached that point of this is something there. Or rather, it was a case of the audience might notice it early on, but the characters aren't aware of it. Obviously this time around, because it's mentioned, it's blatant as to what these guys are. We got our new TARDIS as well, our new TARDIS interior. Which my initial thought was it's very cave-like, sort of crystals.
Very dark.
Yeah, that was my
Needs
very
a light
first
source in it.
My very first thought was...
I expect it's going to light up when she steps inside. No, it's going to be dark.
No.
Health and safety can have a fit when they see that.
I've also realised, with all the new Who TARDIS interiors, they've never had great lighting.
Well, it's going to be moody. And now it's...
I mean, Matt Smith's... Because Matt Smith had two TARDIS interiors, didn't he?
Yes, he did too.
And Capaldi's was the same one as Matt Smith's second. It didn't change. Now, his first one was very brightly lit still. Weird. It was probably, I think, the biggest TARDIS interior they've ever had, really. Because it almost had a floor plan before when he went in through the doors, and then it raised up and everything.
Yeah.
This one, I think, is literally the darkest one. Because the David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston one was sort of based on coral.
Yeah.
It was a coral-based interior. Then you had Matt Smith's one, which was massive and weirdly lit and very funky. Then his second one, which he shared with Peter Capaldi's, was sort of... How would you call that second one?
Brightly lit.
It was blues a lot of the time.
Yeah, blue, silvery, very chromed. It got chromed up, and
yeah, it was like gothic-y feeling bits of it as well. And then we've got the new one, which is...
Someone needs to pay their electricity bill. Or get some decent bulbs that the EU doesn't approve of.
This new TARDIS interior kind of reminds me of a mix between crystals in a cave and scaffolding.
Haven't finished building it yet.
Well, no, it's actually been fused together, because with the first bit, you see, are all like the layers and the plating. And then the literal, sort of the TARDIS actual console and the bits around it are crystals, which sort of, I think, is to try and make it blend in a bit with the Doctor's homemade sonic screwdriver.
How did you make that from bits in Sheffield?
Sheffield steel.
Man, it's good stuff. It can make.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
There's suspension of disbelief, and there's pulling stuff out of your ass.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, the whole joke is the Doctor made the sonic screwdriver to begin with, of course. Because Matt Smith makes that joke about, I think it's in A Christmas Carol. So it's either this or you go back to your room and make a brand new kind of screwdriver. The idea of the sonic screwdriver, I think, has always been the idea of the Doctor made it. And it was only with New Who they introduced the idea of it sort of made with the TARDIS.
Does everything the plot demands it to do.
Yeah. Well, even then, they introduced that much later on with the idea of that's how it came from.
Yeah, Tennant, I think I first noticed it. He always uses it for everything. It just solves things. And
what's the idea of it's not just a screwdriver? Because the Doctor even said that last week. The screwdriver isn't just for a screwdriver. It's all things. It's a scanner. It's all these things.
Whatever the writer needs.
Yeah. It is really a MacGuffin these days, isn't it?
These days it is. Even in the old days, he didn't have it that much occasionally.
No, it wasn't used nearly as much.
Now it's just like, it does everything. Why not?
I mean, McCoy didn't have a screwdriver.
No. Hell, at one point they even used it to actually unscrew something in the old series. Like, oh my god, he's using it to actually unscrew something.
It actually is a screwdriver.
Like, oh my god. But yeah.
Well, that's even then. That's the joke from the Day of the Doctor, isn't it? What are you going to do? It's a screwdriver. What are you going to do?
My favourite joke is in The Empty Child when you go, you ever had a lot of shelves to put up? It's like, it would be useful. Also, is the TARDIS green now?
No.
Oh, it just looked like where's the sun? It looked when she's outside.
I think it's still blue.
Gently caressing it, it looks slightly green.
I think that's just the lighting.
Oh, okay, good.
I would say they've made bold decisions.
Well, like not bright green, but kind of bluey green. They've just slightly changed the colour.
They might. I doubt they'll have changed it that much though, because I think it's the TARDIS. I mean, it's the traditional sort of TARDIS blue.
TARDIS blue. That's what it's called on the Dulux chart.
It is an official colour.
Oh yeah, I think so. TARDIS blue.
I don't think Dulux do TARDIS blue.
No, they might get sued by the EC if they did.
Unless they've done it in conjunction with.
Well, at least a very stern letter from the BBC.
Here we are. So BBC approved TARDIS blue. The actual colour for it, ladies and gentlemen, is Pantone 2955C.
Darn, if you want to paint your room, that's the official.
Well, as of 2016 at least. Obviously, they may have changed it now. But it's the official BBC TARDIS colour.
Officially done.
That's the official colour for it.
You heard it here first. Get it down to home base now and get it mixed.
They'll do that for you now.
I know, but like any colour, they'll do it for you. Or at least allegedly they would.
They have machines to do it.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the machines. Talk about the opening credits.
Yeah, it's the first time we got.
And of course the theme.
Well, my first thought when I saw the credits was, this is really trippy.
Yeah, that's a time vortex and more, I'll say kaleidoscope.
It's not even that. The thing it makes me think of is, you know when you've got like oil in the water?
Yeah.
That's the first thing came to mind for me. It was the shifting of like oils and weird colours and like water when it moves. I'm not terribly keen on the new theme.
No,
it's a lot shorter for one thing.
Also, no face in the opening credits.
Yeah, well, they've only did that.
I know, but god damn it.
That's a classic thing they reintroduced and they've gotten rid of since.
Yes.
Once again, we don't really get our next... For the end credits, we don't get our next time thing until after the credits have passed, when usually it used to be the other way round.
Yeah.
Which makes you have to sit through the credits, which scroll by very quickly.
Which is why I don't watch them, because I usually get up and do the credits and making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what next week's episode is. Which would be interesting.
But even then, the credits for me, when I was watching it, they scroll by very quickly and actually didn't really get the chance to actually see who was doing what.
Where you pause your TV, like, and read it.
I mean, that's the thing you can do with smart TVs now, yes. I know, but, you know.
Pause, rewind.
But I was annoyed, because I want to know who were the voice of the remnants, the pieces of cloth.
Pieces of cloth. My God, now your laundry is scary.
He's a classically trained actor, it's Ian Gelder. But I had to go onto the website to get the credits from there because they scrolled too quickly for me. Because I was thinking, oh, are they likely to reappear at any point?
Possibly, if you want scary laundry.
It's an interesting... I mean, we've seen things like that in other pieces of fiction.
Honestly, when they started moving, I thought they were going to mummify that guy.
Yeah,
Like-
I thought it was
like
a
a
case that
mummy.
they were going to sort of kill him and then use the body as a sort of kind of quasi form of possession type thing.
But no,
A bit like the Gelth did,
yeah.
and things like that. But no, I mean, I liked the episode. It was a good episode for the most part. I still haven't quite got that buzz of wow, this is the Doctor. I got a lot more sense of this is the Doctor's character, and I enjoy the Doctor's character a lot more, and it came through a lot more than it did last week for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I still didn't get that fizz, that buzz again. But I enjoyed this one, I think, more than I did last week's.
Also, when was the series producer on the opening credits? On the opening credits, I'm watching it on Twitter. I've noticed that the series producers got credited on the opening credits.
They usually are, aren't they?
No, it's usually just the cast and then who wrote it. If you haven't know the cast, who is it is. I've noticed it. I'm watching it on Twitter because they've tweeted it.
Interesting.
It's just an interesting thing I noticed.
Yeah, producers aren't usually mentioned except in the end credits. You don't tend to get them in the
yeah.
opening.
It's just a weird thing I noticed.
Was it Chris Chibnall who wrote this one?
Yes, he did write this one.
Yeah. Again, we started off very dark lighting again, actually.
Yeah. That's this Doctor Who series.
I don't know if that's the directors or...
Cutting down the lighting budget. Hey.
I don't know
I
if
don't
that's
know,
a choice
it's
from the
possibly
directors or the writers.
Well, they kind of had a dark, brightly lit planet, but, you know, a dark tone with the...
Well, even then, even when they were
Evil
on the
laundry.
planet, the lighting was... It seemed like the colours were less vibrant for bits of it. I did like the design for the... It seemed to me like the ruins...
Yeah.
My first thought was, it's a holiday complex by the beach.
It did look like that.
The colours just made... That's what made me think of it. It made me think, it's like an old holiday resort, like... the ones down on the south coast. The ones that sort of used to be big in the 60s and the 70s.
You just never go to because they are depressing places.
But nobody goes there anymore, and as a result, it's sort of all just fallen away.
Everyone goes. When package holidays were invented to go abroad, they died.
Like Butlins and all those things.
Butlins
The
still going.
classic holiday
One
resorts.
down Boff. I was aware that one down Bognor is still going.
Yeah, Bognor would be a classic one for it.
Yeah, your Butlins. Hell, Brighton used to be a massive holiday resort before. You could go abroad cheaply. Everyone used to go down to Brighton on the train from London.
So what did you think of it?
It was alright. Not quite as good as last week's. Kind of got annoyed with Mark Malek, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wish he was in it a
wanted
bit more.
God damn it. Oh, I did like he was a hologram. I did like that. He
That
was actually a
quite good.
hologram. The robots reminded me of the Geth, and I don't know why they reminded me of the Geth. They look nothing like the Geth, but they just... I think it was the laser guns. Like, good old-fashioned sci-fi laser guns.
It was interesting having that moment, that argument between Ryan and the Doctor about the use of guns.
Yes, and then...
And going running out, being awesome for a moment, and then
Yeah.
where's the reload?
Yeah.
Running back screaming.
Do you reload a laser gun? Well, in Fallout, you just put a new battery in it.
I would imagine it would have to be something similar.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, laser weaponry isn't a real thing just yet.
Oh, no.
As in,
Lasers,
the lasers are
lasers that travel so slowly you can actually see them.
Yeah, but even then, lasers right now are used more for sidelines
Pointing at things on presentations.
and frustrating cats.
Yes, they're annoying cats.
That's literally what they are.
And ruin someone's eyeballs if you really don't like them. So yeah, not good things to look at. But yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it was alright. It wasn't as good as last week's. Well, shorter than last week's.
Well, it's going to be the opening and the
Thank
closing.
God. But no, it's alright.
But it's long. I mean, it was what 50 minutes.
Yeah, 50 minutes. Last one was an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, last one was like an hour 15, I think.
Oh, was
an
it?
hour 5.
See, but last week's didn't feel long.
No,
This one
didn't-
felt longer, even though it wasn't. And that's probably
the
where
story
it was.
didn't. It was weird. It was actually a very slow start.
Yeah.
It caught up towards the middle.
The best bit was in the tunnels. Going
Yes.
down there, finding that pentagram, which I generally thought it was originally when I first saw it on the floor.
Also, I found it interesting the way they worked around the whole universal translation thing.
Yes.
They've been implanted with them.
Bradley Walsh was not happy.
No, he was not. Understandably so. I
Understandably,
think.
but yeah.
because that's something that Rose has a big problem with as well, isn't she? When she says, "How can I understand them when they're speaking alien?" She says, "Oh, it's the TARDIS does that for you," and she's very angry at the fact that your TARDIS has gone into and sort of rewired my brain.
Well, you would be annoyed.
You would be annoyed, but I love it because I think that's one of the first times that someone's actually had a problem with. You did that without sort of asking.
Oh.
Well, why didn't you tell me that would happen? You don't know what's going to have the effect. And the Doctor's very, it just does that.
But yeah, it's an alright episode. Not wow. Just kind of was kind of bored, but at the beginning it was a bit too much. Not doing much.
No.
Standing around having a chat. I went, yeah, you're stuck on a planet with 3 suns. Like someone saw Star Wars. We're going to 1-up Halloween. We have 3 stars.
And 3 moons.
Yeah, I think that's you.
And I noticed when they did the sequence of the
Probably
sun's
to call Brian
rising,
Cox and see if this is astronomically possible.
3 moons, yes.
Well, there is seas. They say that across one. Oh, that was...
Yeah.
There is
I mean, it's going to be havoc with the tidal patterns as a result. Moons is entirely plausible because it's very easy for planets to have more than one satellite.
One of the positions are correct and everything.
Yeah.
How that would look.
To be in the orbit of 3 stars...
Tatooine's technically a binary star system, so there is 2 stars.
I mean, it's
3 I've never heard of if there's a 3...
But even then, when you're in an orbit system like that, the 3 suns don't rise at the same time, at the same rate as that brief sequence showed us.
God damn it, Doctor Who! Stop being scientifically inaccurate. and Chris Chibnall said this series was going to be educational. He's fucking failed.
Maybe he means educational in the moral sense, because we're getting a lot of moral lessons, I think, more
it's
than
getting
anything.
a tad heavy-handed at times. I know it's a show for kids, kids, and 30-year-olds who really need to get out more. It's brutal, I'm being honest. This is Doctor Who.
We're watching it as well, remember?
And like 50-year-olds used to watch when they were younger.
Yeah.
Going, why isn't this the same?
I mean, Epso's character, the lesson he said he learnt from his mum.
Yeah.
That's just brutal.
Brutal, but...
The whole thing seems to be about the idea of sort of cooperation, and you can trust people. I think when... I mean, to be fair, we're getting a history lesson next week.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
With Rosa Parks.
Yeah, that's going to be heavy-handed, I suspect. Knowing the BBC these days. Well,
I was also surprised. I was saying we'll go on to Mum's thoughts in a minute.
Oh,
I think I said I'm surprised with Mum. I think this is one of the few times in Doctor Who when it's a case of the Doctor's making sure that history runs according to plan.
You know he does. Just usually Daleks get involved halfway through, and the whole thing goes to shit. And,
usually it's like stopping...
Generally, he's not meant. Yeah, he interferes, but he's not meant.
Yeah, he doesn't get involved in any shape or. The Doctor stays away from either interfering or kind of.
Interfering with things that should happen. If something doesn't happens that shouldn't happen, he'll interfere.
Yeah,
but yeah, how things should go.
But that doesn't tend to happen so often. Even as a storyline, it doesn't tend to happen. It's rare for the Doctor kind of going, okay, something's trying to prevent something from happening. We need to make sure it does happen. Usually, it's a case of we need to stop something from happening, not make sure something happens. So, Mum's thoughts?
Yeah, so your Mum's thoughts.
Mum's first words were, "This is proper awesome."
Well, I'm glad she's involved.
Yes.
Her thoughts are valued every week.
That's why we get all the views.
Yes,
it's
right
just
there.
you're just here for my mum's thoughts.
Your mum trying to be cool.
No, it's Mum quoting from the episode, actually.
No, but still just trying to be cool.
You know she's actually going to listen to this one.
Yeah, she will. Hi!
No, Mum liked the episode. She enjoyed a lot of it. She didn't have any problems with it. We always do. We're always a lot more critical, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm now back to be miserable, so the alternate universe has fixed itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, reality has fixed itself for
I'm
it.
back to going, this is terrible!
Mum initially thought I didn't particularly enjoy it, because she said, it doesn't sound like you particularly enjoyed it. She says, no, it's a good episode. It hasn't given me the buzz.
It's good, but from now you've forgotten it. Kind of.
It's not a memorable episode, I won't lie. It's not one that you go, wow, did you remember that moment? It's one
when
that
the toilet paper came alive.
No, for me it was just rags.
Yeah, I know what it was. I just like saying it's someone's laundry. Like, if you don't do your laundry for, like, weeks, this happens.
Well, I thought those things were going to be important because we saw them very early on.
Yeah.
I thought, well, they've got to be something. I don't know what they are exactly, but...
Don't set something up and then not use it. Unless you're incompetent at your job.
It'd be a really weird thing to do.
Well, yeah, that's pointless for most people. If you see something early on, you assume some sort of payoff. Like the cigar.
Everything's relevant.
Everything has a point. You're not just wasting my time. When you've got 50 minutes or however long, you don't usually have time to waste.
It's interesting that we've got a few things, though, that are going to be... that appear to be relevant to the Doctor, like the timeless child. Which would be interesting.
He does act like a child. I know the Doctor kind of does all the time, but she really does seem to act like a child. Not in a bad way. Not like she's acting immature. She just acts way too excited about everything.
Which is, I think, one of the Doctor's best qualities in that idea. It's the idea of everything is a source of wonder.
Yeah.
And amazement. But it's also the thing of, is the timeless child the Doctor or someone else?
Bradley Walsh. He never ages. No, he'll be doing the chase forever. And there's your season finale.
Fair enough. I don't know, because for some reason just based on what we were talking about last week, a part of me is wondering, the timeless child, Susan?
Yeah. Better not be Clara. I'm going to throw a fit.
No, it won't be Clara.
Like, someone finds Stephen Moffat and strangle him in his sleep. That's harsh. Just give him a light tap on the head.
It can't be Clara, and even then we know that Clara does die.
No.
It's just she's doing a lot before she gets to that point again.
Oh. Who knows what will happen.
But we've also, of course, as we know, it's supposed to be nothing old is coming back. It's all brand new stuff.
They say that, but...
Yeah.
They may be lying.
Mum wasn't so sure about that. She wasn't against it, but she wasn't...
Why don't we say a new Doctor makes their mark when they face the Daleks?
That's
which, of
classic.
course, isn't going to happen in this series, so it's weird that she's never faced the Dalek.
Yeah. It is kind of like that thing of you're not really the Doctor until you face the Daleks.
Yeah. Or at least one. Not all of them, it's one.
Yeah, just one.
Chris Chibnall wrote a lot of these episodes. He wrote last week's, this week's, co-wrote next week's, and the week after, he wrote... He seemed to be writing a lot of them. Because Moffat didn't used to write many of them. Like, he would write, like, the opening and the finale.
Yeah, well, we've only got a few that we know about so far.
Well, yeah, I've only got 4 episodes. Out of the first 4, he writes the first 4 episodes and co-writes the third one.
Yeah, and I've just seen what the next 2 ones are called.
I like Arachnids in the UK. I'm getting a Snakes on the Plane vibe.
Yeah, I was getting with
that's silly, that would work if they just go silly with that.
Rosa, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Saying, right, this is what it's about, so right, Rosa.
Either Arachnids is going to be giant spiders, which I'm sure Doctor Who's done at some point.
Quite a few times. Well, Planet of the Spiders.
Well, yeah. Or it's some awesome punk band.
It is very sort of
Snakes
Anarchy in the UK type thing, isn't it?
Snakes on the Plane. Doctor's going to ask to get these well, maybe not that, because prime time BBC.
These mother frickin'...
Yeah, these goddamn tootin' spiders.
These blasted spiders have ruined my casserole.
They've ruined my picnic. That's ants ruin picnics.
Spiders will fix that problem for you, though, actually.
Then you have spiders everywhere. In the spiders, everyone still runs off screaming.
Yeah.
Because apparently spiders are scary.
Arachnophobia is one of the most common fears, I think, for people.
No, not even that. It's a spider. It's like 40 times its size. I mean, it's like one of the giant spiders from Lord of the Rings. I understand, that's terrifying.
Yes, those ones are...
You know, they're massive things, but it's a spider. Deal with it.
I've also just seen the correct way to spell Tim Shaw.
Have you?
Yeah, because it's on the Wikipedia page.
Oh yeah,
of
I
the series. Because I'm just thinking, it's
Sim.
not Tim Shaw.
I kind of
Sim
want him to be
Shaw.
called Tim Shaw. Yeah, it's Sim Shaw, the not predator.
They're not Predator.
Because we don't want to get sued.
Although he seems to have about as many teeth as a Predator does.
Yes.
But not in the way you'd expect them to.
I still think the Predator should have had a Predator mouth. It's really cool. Or maybe that makeup's a bit beyond the BBC budget. Do the full.
And it's all standalones, no multi-part.
Yes, no standalones. It should be good. And only 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Christmas.
And the Christmas special.
Yeah, but it's just it tends short.
But there's only a couple of weeks between them this year as well, between the end of the series and Christmas.
Well, yeah, that's probably why it's short actually, because it will hit Christmas.
Yeah.
And we'll have a bit of a break before the Christmas. I wonder if the Christmas special will be linked, like the 11th episode, since they are so close together.
Yeah, I'd imagine, but they usually tie them in a little bit. But based on the fact it says each episode of the series is set to be a standalone story with no multi-part.
Again, they may be lying.
And we're going to have one episode eventually called The Witchfinders, which makes me think that's going to be the one with Alan Cumming.
Yeah, because he plays someone.
Well, based on the outfit we saw him wearing, it seems to be sort of the Witchfinder general.
He's playing King James I.
Is he?
According to Wikipedia, Alan Cumming announced that he's been cast as King James I in the episode of the series.
Wow.
What's their source on that?
I'm assuming it's an interview.
Radio Times interview, so I assume it's legit.
Yeah, that'd be legit. And that'd be a nice welcome change, because usually when you get King James I, he's always played with an English accent.
Yes.
Because he wasn't. He was Scottish. He was James VI.
Was he the one they tried to blow up? Was he the one they tried to blow up?
No, I think it was James II.
Oh, okay. He's lucky he doesn't get Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes did it.
Guy Fawkes was... Oh, it was James I.
Oh, and Lee Max playing Guy Fawkes now. That won't work.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes was James I. Because, of course, he was Catholic, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that was the big thing. The Protestants and the Catholics and their stuff.
But yes,
that we went into history there. Hey, how was that? Chris Chibnall said this is going to be educational, like the old series was. Like back in the day, they were educational.
Really back in the day,
like massive quote educational. You know, like the first Doctor, how to beat a caveman's skull in with a rock.
Useful stuff. Well, we had a bit of science this week, didn't we?
Doctor Who science is
ascertain.
Bullshit.
Lighter than air. Smells of garlic. It's extremely flammable.
So next time you find acetylene torch, kids, light it up.
And next
that way you can defeat your evil laundry.
The history of the civil rights movement in America.
Oh, that's going to be fucking heavy-handed. Given the political climate, shall we say.
Steady on.
To be fair, they haven't made a big deal about this woman thing. I was genuinely expecting them to go full Ghostbusters.
Both of us were a touch anxious about that.
Like, they're going to go full Ghostbusters. As in modern day, not Bill Murray's kind of
not
dick
Bill
in
Murray's
Ghostbusters.
One, no. I've seen the modern one, actually. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Being
diplomatic, it's not bad.
It's enjoyable. It's a good film.
Better or worse than Ghostbusters 2?
Well, for one, it's a completely different story
in
a lot of ways, really. It's self-contained. It's not a sequel or even really a reboot.
It's just a story.
But
yeah, they haven't done it yet.
No, well, I think it's unlikely to as well, because it's a case of the main thing that we were worried about was them...
Although her sonic screwdriver does look like a... I'm just saying, her sonic screwdriver does look like a...
Stop it.
It does! Like, they had to know what they were doing.
Stop it.
No one's that naive.
One of the...
And she can't park the TARDIS. To be fair, none of them can park the TARDIS, but...
Famously, none of them can drive the TARDIS, because as we know, the grinding, wheezing sound that we hear is because he's leaving the brakes on.
The handbrake's on.
Because I know that we were concerned, one of the things we said that we were concerned about when they announced the casting of Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor was if they did it for the right reasons, i.e.
They did it to be... Look how good we're being. Because inevitably they did. Whether or not the series does it, they weren't, now's the time because, you can really piss people on the internet off and make a... Although that
I don't think they did it,
that tends to backfire, Star Wars proved that.
It can backfire, I won't say it does.
But you haven't had Chris Chibnall go, as far as I've seen, you haven't had Chris Chibnall go on Twitter. I don't even know if he has a Twitter. And call everyone who dislikes it an absolute cretin, but,
I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I don't...
Yeah, but I don't know if Christian Chibnall actually has a
do anything
Twitter
with it.
So he can insult fans or whatever. But no one's done that yet, and the series has been just not really brought up.
It's had a really good reaction, though. I mean,
it's been good.
Most fan reaction from last week's has been fantastic.
Revitalise the series, or it would kill it.
One or the other.
Yeah, because
Seems to have breathed a huge amount of
shock.
new energy into it.
Whether that'll last 10 episodes.
We'll see.
Take is one particularly bad one.
We'll see how the rest of them go, really. Like I said, we're only 2 episodes in, though.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
Fifth of the way through.
I hadn't thought of it quite like that.
Yeah, you realise. I mean, it goes like the last episode's on the 9th of December. That's ages away. Yeah, but Christmas isn't that far away. You think about it.
Yeah, Christmas is not far away
Once Halloween hits,
at all.
and that's Arachnid. Well, not quite. It doesn't quite air on Halloween. Arachnid's in the UK. 28th.
It's Halloween week.
It's Halloween week. So not quite on Halloween.
No, well, it's not going to be on Halloween because Halloween's on Wednesday, I think, this week.
Well, 28th Sunday, I assume. So.
Yeah.
Which is when Arachnid's in the UK.
Yep.
It reminds me of Dinosaurs on the Spaceship.
I liked that episode.
Stupid episode that was.
I liked it.
That was like someone's child wrote that episode,
I think
or at least came up with the idea, like while playing with their dinosaur and spaceman toys.
That's a good episode.
Just like, and then the dinosaur ate the spaceman. Because all kids play like that.
You did.
Kids don't even play with toys like actual toys anymore.
Yeah.
And they all on their. Okay.
I think it's both. I think it's a matter of you have to the way a lot
combination
of
the internet and video games being such the thing they are now.
Some of them combine them in because I know it's like it's a case that there are video games that when you want to get an extra one, you have
isn't the Skylanders
it's a code you buy with an action figure or something.
Skylanders or whatever it was.
Which is the way they meld them in.
Yes, so you can have toys and play with your. Anyway, we're going way off topic again.
Yeah.
Let's rein this
We're
back
back on form.
Back on form. Take a while for us to get talking about toys.
But yeah, it wasn't a bad episode this week. It was an alright one. It's not, as he said, I wouldn't say it's an episode I'd call particularly memorable in the sense of there were big moments I'm going to remember for ages.
Or a memorable villain.
It wasn't really a villain, really, this week. It was a threat.
The laundry.
Yeah.
And Dark Malik, because he's always the bad guy in everything.
I hope they do more with him. I really do.
Keep him back. That was a waste of his.
I'll be sad if not.
I did think he needs someone behind him fan him. I know he's not actually in the desert, but just to create the look with him sitting there. Just like. Probably no hookah, though. That's probably not allowed in music. But yeah, we'll see if he comes back.
Yeah, I suspect he won't.
As a spider in New York.
I would love for him to come back, but as we've seen before, when they've had, because casting, as we know, has never been the issue for Doctor Who. But unfortunately, he does have the habit of casting very good actors.
Big popular actors are very expensive.
Yeah,
Doctor Who is run on a TV budget, and not an HBO TV budget either.
No, it really isn't.
So they can't really afford unless they do it like the actors are massive fan of Doctor Who and they'll do it cheaply.
Like
although I don't know about equity rules and that.
Like David Suchet did in his episode. He famously accepted the role without reading the script.
Yeah, that's trust to put in.
That's a huge amount of trust. It's a huge amount. I think it's love for the programme. And to be fair, he was fantastic.
He was now. David Suchet's always fantastic.
Yeah.
In Poirot, but the only thing I've ever seen him in.
He's always a good actor. Anyway, that concludes our thoughts on the Ghost Monument. Join us, I think, roughly the same time next week.
I assume roughly at the same time. There's no strictly tomorrow.
For Rosa.